Welcome, everybody. This is DW, and welcome to the Doctor's Clinic. And we're excited that you stopped your life on this Tuesday evening and to gain a little more information about how our products can impact your life. Tonight, we're just jumping right smack dab in the middle of pain and chronic pain and just tackling that big subject. There's a couple things that our doctors realize that if they can manage someone's inflammation, that's a big deal. If they can manage someone's pain, that's a big deal. If they can get brain health going to the brain and keep the brain function at full power before someone slips into dementia and Alzheimer's and going through some of those challenges, they can do a lot of good. If they can keep the blood flow going in a person's body, or the circulation of the flow of blood in their body, they'll do that. And that's some of the things they take on each and every day. It's all those different kind of pains, and it gets real powerful when you understand how to manage those. Well, Dr. Kirk Fisnick, we've been talking about this a little bit, and chronic pain is a challenge, and a lot of people are, they've gone to medications, and we've even had famous radio announcers and athletes and television stars and neighbors across the street and people that we go to church with and individuals that's on different kind of committees that we've seen, throughout the years just go through, just pain that's uncontrollable for them, and they resort to things that are extremely addictive and get into, multiple addictive painkillers, which is another form of slamming your body with heavy metals as well. But I'm going to ask you a couple preliminary questions before we jump into the products that'll help. The first question we're going to get into is just kind of a definition on what is chronic pain.
Well, DW, chronic really means that the condition's been there for longer than 12 weeks. And when you take a look at it, it's like 80 or 90% of Americans, of adult Americans, have some kind of chronic pain. And really, when you look at it as a doctor, that number is pretty steady every year after year after year. It really doesn't change, and it's one of the top reasons that people go to doctors.
It is one of the top reasons that I'm hurting here, I'm hurting there, and some people ignore it, and we'll ask that. That'll be the question. We'll do a follow up in a minute. Unless you want to do that, I've got another question here. We'll start with first, Doc, that we're going to jump into. Well, it's kind of a dual one. To ignore the pain would be to cause, set yourself up for basically disaster, I guess you could say it. But the question I want to jump into is what are, and people have all kinds of pains, but what are some of the chronic pains that someone could be going through? And what are some of the challenges out there? We'll get into solutions in a minute, and maybe we'll kind of pile them together, pains that are in the head versus the back and others. But so talk to me about different types of chronic pain that you've heard people, in your practice share with you.
You bet. Well, DW, as a chiropractor, that's probably the most common reason that people come to see us is because they have some kind of pain, whether it's neck pain, back pain, headaches, knee pain, shoulder pain, all those different sort of things. So I've really had a good taste of it through the years of all the different things that people come in for. And really, when you look at it, there's a lot of different things that can trigger it. But the thing about chronic pain is that once it's reached the point of chronic, the body looks at it a little bit different. And I'm going to try and explain this in layperson terms so all of you can understand what I'm saying versus using big medical terms, because it really doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do you any good if I talk way over your head and don't explain it. So think of it like this. You remember when your grandma would tell you that she said, the weather's going to change. We got some rain coming. And you look at her, you're a little kid, and you look at her and you go, why'd you say that, Grandma? And Grandma said, well, because my shoulder hurts, or that knee's starting to hurt. And you think, come on. How can that work? And all of us, I know you're all nodding your head with me. You're saying, yeah, I remember that. And probably a lot of you that are on the call with us right now, you're saying, heck, it's not Grandma, it's me. And right, DW? I mean, isn't that the truth?
It's the truth, and I remember that.
Yeah, so let me explain that. So people have a good understanding of what's actually happening. It's really not in your head. It's really in the area. So if you have a shoulder pain and you notice that, or if you have knee pain, what's actually causing that? And it's a theory that they came up with over in Austria, and they basically called it a gate theory, a gate, G-A-T-E, and it went like this. So if I've got a herd of cattle, and I want to move them from this pasture to that pasture over there, I want to do I want to make a little gate, or do I want to make a bunch of gates? And so if I want to move the cattle really fast, I open up all the gates that I can. If I can drop the fence and take the fence down, I can move all the cattle from field A to field B really, really quickly. Well, in your body, what happens is that you have a certain set of nerves that are working all the time. They're sending a signal to your brain. They're saying, oh, yeah, that's knee, that knee's good, and it's sending a signal to your brain. But what happens is you fall down, you wipe out, you hurt your knee, and it doesn't heal up right away. It turns chronic, and what that really means is that your knee and your brain and your nervous system just opened up a ton of gates. Thousands and thousands of gates just opened up so that you can get the signal to the brain really, really quickly. And that's what tells your brain that, hey, there's something going on there in that knee. But the bad thing about it is that because it's opened up so many of those gates, that it actually gets really, really sensitive. So where before you never used to feel the air pressure changing, now all of a sudden you can feel the atmospheric pressure in your city where you live in. You can feel the atmospheric pressure changing in your environment because the knee or whatever joint it is so sensitive. And so when we talk about getting rid of pain, not only do we want to just block the pain out, but we actually want to go back and we want to start shutting those gates down. We want to bring it back to where that original gate is the only one that's open, so you can get rid of that chronic pain. And that's the problem that we see when people start doing medications, right? People start taking narcotic pain medication, and it'll block the pain for a while, but then after a while your body is pretty smart, and it figures out, hey, all this guy is doing is putting a piece of masking tape over the pain. And so then the body opens up another couple of gates and makes it so that the pain signals can get to the brain, and it kind of works around the medication. You take more medication, the body opens up more gates. You take more pain medication, the body opens up more gates, until finally, it's just so bad that you can't get rid of it. And so what we want to try and do, and the reason that we're doing this call that DW and I talked about this today, is that we want to get people to understand that if you keep doing the traditional medicine where you keep taking painkillers, you're not fixing anything. All you're doing is covering it up. You're putting a Band-Aid over the top of it. And so what we want to use is products like we have with Sisel, so we can actually rebuild that joint. We can start shutting those extra gates down. We can get rid of that pain, and we've got some tremendous products. I've had just some great results working with it, and it's just amazing, DW.
Well, let's jump into this real quick, because that we're basically identifying challenges. I mean, you've got to be honest about where the pain's at and what's going on pain-wise. But what kind of damage is some of the painkillers that people are taking out there? I mean, it numbs their nerves, it numbs their brain, it numbs everything. So what damage is painkillers actually causing?
Well, I mean, DW, that's kind of a loaded question, right? And
probably a little too much.
Yeah, what I mean by that is really this. I mean, okay, so we were talking about that gate theory of pain, and a person's taking a pain medication, and it works for a little bit, and then they take more, and it works for a little bit. Well, at what point does it not work at all? And I don't care how much you take, it just doesn't work. And I go back, and I use myself as a good example. 8 years ago, I was in a bad motorcycle wreck. Going along, I was driving about 25 miles an hour. For those of you who haven't heard my story, I'm going about 25 miles an hour, and and a guy comes flying out of a parking lot. They figure he was going about 65 miles an hour, and he T-boned me. Tore my right leg off. When I woke up on the highway, my right leg was laying behind me. I mean, it was from the knee down. My leg was just little tiny crumbs of bone. And right away, they hauled me to the hospital, and they put me on a morphine drip, and I was on morphine for like 3 weeks. I found out from my mom the other day. I didn't even know this. They knocked me unconscious for 2 days, and I thought I woke up the next day. I just found out the other day that I actually lost a couple days of my life that and I didn't even know that. But so they started giving me morphine, and then after the morphine quit working, then they put me on all kinds of narcotics, stronger and stronger narcotics, and pretty soon those narcotics weren't working at all, right? So you think about that. If I would have been the average person out there in America, where would I have gone? What would I have done? And that's when you start thinking about people who start abusing the drugs because it just isn't working anymore, and they kind of turn into zombies. So that's one of the things that can happen. But the other thing is that what is that pain medication actually doing? And so that pain medication is affecting those nerves. It's actually causing nerve damage. It's actually affecting, the pain medication doesn't just cover up the pain. Like if I take a pain medication and I've got knee pain, for example, and I take the pain medication, do you think that medication only goes to my knee? Absolutely not. That pain medication goes everywhere in my body. It's going to the knee. It's going to the ankle, it's going to the toe, it's going to the hip, it's going to my digestive system, it's going to my heart, it's going to my lungs, my brain, my shoulders, everything. So it's everything in your body's being affected. And so a lot of times we'll see one of the side effects of pain medication that not only does it get rid of pain, but it also causes damage to the nervous system. It causes damage to the digestive system. It causes heart damage. Right? And it can cause brain damage from taking those medications. And then I guess the bad effect of it too then is that I think, a lot of people start turning to harder and harder street drugs. We'll see people who went from using prescription medication, all of a sudden they're using heroin and things like that because they just aren't getting their fix out of the prescription stuff. So they start using stuff that off the street that Lord knows where that's made and what it's made with. And so that's some of the things that we see as far as like answering your question, DW, what kinds of things do you see go wrong with the pain medications? And it's just, I mean, there's no way to do long-term studies. I mean, you're not going to have, well, I suppose you will have some people that would volunteer for it because they're idiots, but most people aren't going to volunteer. Right? I mean, most people aren't going to volunteer and say, yeah, make me the guinea pig. I want to see what taking narcotics for 50 years does to a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Well, it's exciting. I tell you what, let's jump into, we got a lot of people on the call that, are either experiencing themselves or have friends and family that are going through some things. If someone's going through some chronic pain, I'm not sure which area you want to start with and which product you want to jump into first. We've got several on the list here, but just kind of from your experience and some of the people you've helped, what is some of the Sisel products that we can use to help someone maneuver themselves through this chronic pain?
Well, DW, that's a great question, and I'll answer it like this, that there's really three causes of pain. There's emotional pain that, it's triggered by the emotional system, and what happens is that stress causes the weak link in your nervous system to make you go into kind of a pain cycle. There's chemical stress. If you've been exposed to different kinds of chemicals, that chemicals can actually damage the nervous system, and that can cause pain. But the one that I think that I want to stick on tonight, really kind of look at, is actually, physical pain caused by physical damage. Maybe you fell down a flight of stairs or you got run over while you're riding your motorcycle, things like that. And so what happens is that the joints are actually damaged and they're inflamed. And when you have chronic inflammation, there's a lot of chemicals. There's kind of a chemical cascade of events that take place. and eventually what happens is the joints start to deteriorate. And so the first product that I always talk about when I'm talking about joint pain is the Renovator. I mean, and most of you that are on the call, if you've been with Sisel for a while, you know that last year we reformulated the Renovator to make it so that it's a lot stronger product. We used to have two products on the market. One was called Renovator, which was one, I just tell people that was the one that rebuilt the joints. That was the one that rebuilt the cartilage. And then we had another product called Remediate, which was a natural version of what they call a COX-2 inhibitor, but it's for pain relief. And so now we've combined the best of the best with those products, and we only have one product, and it's called Renovator. And what that really is, it's a combination of nutrients that support the joints, increase the lubricants in the joints, and so it makes it so that your joints are more flexible. You can move easier. It helps with the synovial fluid. It helps with the sulfates in the cartilage. But what it does, it helps to rebuild that cartilage and maintain those healthy joints. So if you can get to a person early enough in the whole process, you can actually start to see that joint rebuilding. But it also takes and it protects the joints from the free radicals. You know, when we listen to Tom talk about the new diatomic hydrogen water, right? We talk about free radicals. Well, free radicals damage the joint tissue, it damages the cartilage, it damages all the connective tissue. And so if we can take and we can get rid of those free radicals using products like Renovator or using like the diatomic hydrogen water, we can take and we can see that joint start to rebuild itself. But keeping those joints lubricated, you know, if we think about it, I like cars, so you hear me talking, relating things to a lot of cars and automobile type stuff. But if you think of a joint as being like a bearing, you want to have that bearing greased all the time so it doesn't dry out. And when you have joint damage over a period of time, you're going to actually see that the joint itself, it's going to break down, it's going to start to wear out, just like a bearing wearing out in your automobile, right? I mean, if you drive your car around long enough and you never change the oil, eventually you're going to damage the engine, right? And most of us that are on the call, I mean, I'm sure there's one or two that have run a car out of oil, but most people, you know, our dads taught us to change the oil every 3,000 miles. You don't wait until the engine light comes on. You go, oh, yeah, DW, it's time to change the oil on the car. No, you change it because Dad taught you every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. You change your oil, and what it does, it makes it so that the bearings don't wear out. Well, in your body, the bad thing is that we can't go in there and we can't change our oil. So what we have to do is we constantly have to be feeding ourselves with the right nutrients. And so Renovator combines some real good peptides that also help with the cartilage. And we've got minerals in there like zinc and selenium that nourish, and it helps rebuild the joints. And it's just such a great product, and it helps the body, so it makes this superoxide diosmutase. So Tom Mauer's been talking about that when he talks about the diatomic hydrogen. Well, the Renovator actually has ingredients that helps with that as well, so you can rebuild that soft tissue, and it's just an amazing product. And I'll see people who will use that. My mom had some pretty terrible knee pain, and she started using that product. And she came back to me 3 days later, and she said, Kurt, I don't know what's in that stuff. I mean, and she just said, it's amazing. And the pain was gone in 3 days. One of the big ingredients that we really got to spend some time on, and for those of you that are on the call and you're going to go out and talk to people and you're going to share this information, learn the one ingredient. It's called Boswellia serrata, and it's also known as Indian frankincense. But this ingredient works as a COX-2 inhibitor, and what it does, it helps get rid of pain. And it helps get rid of pain, and it helps to block pain. So now, while you're taking and you're doing the healthy things to rebuild the joint, you can get rid of the pain, so you can actually go out and start doing some exercise, which is so important for that. So I would say, DW, that the Renovator is probably the first product that I reach for when I'm talking to somebody about pain. But I think I'm just, before I let you jump back on, I'm just going to say the other product that kind of goes hand in hand with that is I really like using the fucoidan as well. And my reason for that is that the fucoidan is such a powerful anti-inflammatory. It works right alongside of the Renovator. I have people, I wish I could have gotten Shane on the call tonight. One of our distributors down in California, Shane had some really chronic pain because he had some surgery on his neck. He had a tumor in his neck, and he started using the fucoidan, and he didn't even use any Renovator. He just used the fucoidan, and I remember him telling me this summer, it was like 3 or 4 days into it, he said the pain had decreased so much that he actually got off of his narcotic medications. 3 to 4 days. I mean, think about that. How many people do you know wouldn't like to have that kind of results? And all you have to do is just say, hey, try this stuff. I mean, just try it. And that's usually how I get people to go on things, is I say, what the heck? I mean, it's got to be better than taking that pain medication that you're taking. So, DW, so that's really the first 2 ingredients that I use when anybody has chronic pain of any kind.
Well, I tell you, we've seen a lot of fantastic results when it comes to that, and I've got a question that came across today, and maybe out of left field, and we may save it for another deal. But if someone's having a lot of pain on their spine, and there's an assist there, and we've seen the fucoidan help with a lot of those kind of things. And so, if someone had, like, say, a cyst on their spine or something like that, or in their back, what would you recommend those same 2 products in yet again?
Yeah, I would say those same 2 products, but I might start thinking, okay, what's causing the cyst? And a lot of times there's some kind of toxicity going on as well, and it's causing that cyst to form. So the fucoidan, I mean, again, that's a great product for that, because it's a great detoxifier. And so I would really recommend those same 2 products. You start looking at some of the other things that you can add with it. Omega-3s, the Super Omega Plus is just such an awesome product as well, because omega-3s fish oils, they're natural anti-inflammatories, and so you can get rid of a lot of pain if you can get rid of the inflammation, and you can get that out of there, and so the body's going to actually start healing up a lot faster when you start putting that in there. The other thing that I really have to say too is that Linus Pauling, he got the Nobel Prize for Medicine twice, and one of the only doctors that ever did that. But he said, anytime you have any kind of a chronic problem, I don't care what it is, but anytime you have any kind of a chronic health problem, the first thing that you should start looking for is some kind of a essential trace mineral deficiency. Okay, so a trace mineral deficiency, and you've heard Tom talk about that. You've heard Jackie talk about that. You've heard a lot of the distributors that know about nutrition talking about how we're so deficient on minerals. Harvard Medical Study, they did a study that showed that at any given time, if I took 97% of the population and I checked any one of us for a vitamin deficiency, at any given time, they're finding that we're deficient on at least 5 different essential minerals, right, at any given time. And the reason I say it that way is because today it might be these 5, tomorrow it might be another different 5, and the reason that it changes is because our bodies are dynamic, right? We're always changing. Everything that's happening is changing. And so what's happening is we're missing certain nutrition today, but tomorrow it might be a totally different batch of nutrition. And so the product that I like for that, and you guys all know what I'm talking about, it's the Spectramax. Spectramax has 74 trace minerals, and they're delivered in a way with fulvic acid, so your body can use them right away. You don't have to wait until your body figures out, well, how do we dissolve that piece of rock, or how do we dissolve that piece of coral? Come on, coral, that's not what your body needs. You can't dissolve that and use that. You know, when you hear people talking about coral calcium and things like that, then your body needs to have vitamins that it can use right away, and that's where the fulvic acid comes into play. So that product, DW, is just another awesome one that we want to throw it on the shelf right up there with the Fucoidan, with the Renovator as well.
Well, then you're talking about the Body Shield bringing life source to the body and then taking plaque out as well. How much is the buildup of plaque stopping, you know, all the way from brain pain and everything from firing like it should?
Yeah, right. I mean, at Body Shield, I did a health fair up here in Minneapolis today, and I was sharing information about the diatomic hydrogen and all of our products with 1,000 employees at Delta Airlines today. That's what my day consisted of, and that's one of the things we were talking about was the Body Shield. How important is that, right? I mean, because here's a product that it pulls the heavy metals and toxins out of your body, right? And the easiest way to describe that, DW, is think of it like this, and and you've heard me say it before, is that your body only has a certain number of receptor sites for any given nutrient. And so if I take the receptor site that's supposed to hold vitamin C and I throw something else in that receptor site so the vitamin C can't get in there, well, now all of a sudden you got a vitamin C deficiency. I don't care how much vitamin C you take, you can overload your body with vitamin C. It doesn't matter. There's no place for it to go because a toxin has taken the place, a toxin like arsenic has taken the place and blocked the vitamin C from getting in. Well, what the Body Shield does is it pulls that out of the way and it allows the nutrients to go where they're supposed to go. And, again, how important is that when you're talking about joint health?
Well, it's vitally important. I mean, once one of the things that, we recommend quite a bit is obviously the Triangle of Life, but, the Fucoidan to help with the inflammation and circulation. But you mentioned something earlier, and I'm just going to touch on it because you talk about some of the emotional pain and emotional stress and even some of the chemicals. Everything you're talking about here helps with that. And if someone's stressed out emotionally, I mean, we've got small little doses of Ultramax can help someone. And, some of the things that we've suggested, and it's helped out the energy for him or her, the brain vitality. So if someone has a lot of headaches and stuff, and they're going through, and this isn't chronic, so now we're talking about a touch and go thing, but they're going through periodic migraines from time to time. If someone came to you and said, "Hey, I've got a migraine," and of course, I guess it probably depends on a lot of different. You have a lot of questions you ask, but you want to get into that now, or flip into our testimonies.
Yeah, I think we should get into testimonials since we're looking at the bottom of the hour here. But the thing about it, just really quickly on the migraine type thing, DW, since you brought that up, let me ask you this, and DW, I want you to answer it. If I was to ask you, and I'm gonna, what number, how many headaches a year is considered normal?
Oh, wow. I would say probably 7.
2 headaches a year is considered normal.
Well, I've had a bad year. No, I'm teasing.
But yeah, I mean, think about that. 2 headaches a year is what they consider normal. The National Headache Research Institute said 2 headaches a year, right? And so, I mean, think about those people. I talked to a gal today at the Delta Airlines over there, right? And she said she has 17 headaches a month, 17 migraines a month, right?
Wow.
And I just said, holy cow. I mean, no wonder those people at the airlines are so stressed out when you're going through line. I mean, they're not being stressed out by us. They're being stressed out because they're having migraines 17 days out of the month. You just want to make sure you go in on the 14 days that they don't. And so, things like we're talking about with the Fucoidan and Spectramax and all that is so important. But what actually triggers a migraine in a lot of cases is either lack of blood flow, not getting enough blood up to the brain, or maybe actually too much blood flow, but the blood can't get back out. And so it's kind of the same type of thing, right? And so if the blood's getting in the brain, but the veins to push the blood back out, the channel for the blood to get back out, if that's not big enough, if there's not enough room for that to come through there, what happens is you're going to get that pulsating in the head. And if it's the other way around, where you aren't getting enough blood flow to the brain, it's going to cause hypoxia with lack of oxygen flow. And basically, both of them kind of trigger the same type of thing, and you can get migraines from it. So the Ultramax, it's got its special ingredients that what it actually does, it increases the blood flow, it opens that back up. And so that's how the Ultramax, just really simply, that's how the Ultramax really helps out with migraines, without getting way into the chemistry of the whole thing.
Absolutely awesome. You have someone you want to share a testimony, is that correct?
Yeah, DW, one of the people that I want to bring on the call, she's not even a distributor yet. She's a friend of ours up here in Minneapolis, and she's a musician from way back. She did kind of a disco album back in the 80s, and she was playing the music for me here last week. But Lisa Savoy, if you could hit *6 and get on the call here and just share a little bit about what you've done to kind of get rid of some knee pain and what it's meant to you. *6. Lisa Savoy, *6. All right. Well, she's new to the call, and we're just getting her signed up as a distributor tonight. But she has a great story. I'm not gonna spoil it for her because I know that she'll want to share it at another time. So, Lisa, one more time, *6 if you're on the call. All right. Well, she's not there. Let's go out to Barb Grindy. Barb up in Montana. I know that you've got some great stories how the products are. Yes. Who do we have?
Sorry, it's Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, you made it. I'm glad you were able to figure that out. But if you could take and just quickly for DW and I, if you could just share your story, what products did you use and what kind of results have you seen?
Yeah, I've been having some really fantastic results with the Fire and Iced Tea. I wanted to get back into some kind of a workout program, and I used to be a pretty good runner, and in wanting to get back in shape and lose some weight, I thought I'd really like to get back into running. It's always, of course, pretty difficult in the beginning. And probably about 2 months ago, I started running again, and I started 2-3 miles a day, and it was taking quite a while. That I wasn't looking for time anyway. I was just looking to get the distance in, and so I'd been running for about a month, and I was having some really bad knee pain in my right knee, and I thought I'm just going to continue to run through it because if I wimp out now, I probably won't go back to it. And changed my shoes, and that didn't help, and, did the ice packs at night, and when I got done running, put my leg up, and, just everything I'd been told to try and do to alleviate the pain without having to give up running. And then been running for about a month, and actually went to a show that Doc Fizz had in Minneapolis, and Tom Maurer spoke at it, and he was talking about all the products, and samples were there, and of course I tried the coffee and the tea, and one of the things that I really hooked on to was the Sisel Fire and Iced Tea, and I had heard, well, this is a great product if you're trying to get back into a workout program and you're looking for some extra energy to hold you through and actually keep you focused. It keeps me focused through my work day now. But I started taking it and realized within about 3-4 days that, geez, my run was shortened up by about 6, 7, 8 minutes. And I'm like, well, this is great. It wasn't what I'm going for, but dang it, now I'm going to have to add another quarter mile on to get my 55 minutes in. But the ironic thing was my knee stopped hurting. And so not only did it take it's been taking time off ever since. Last month I've been using it now, and I'm still cutting time off my run, and I haven't gotten the knee pain back, and it's been a month now. So it's been just a fantastic product for me.
Yeah, can you imagine, Lisa, if you were able to start taking some of the other products that you heard me talking about on the call?
Oh, well, absolutely. I'm checking my list.
Yeah, I love it.
All right.
What a great testimony. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. And so, you know, when you get things flowing in your system, Doc, it just makes a difference, doesn't it?
It sure does, right? You know, and I know Barb Grindy wanted to share a testimonial tonight, too. You know, Barb, if you could hit *6. Lisa, thanks for sharing that. Barb, if you want to jump on and just kind of share real quickly what you've noticed using the Sisel products for yourself.
Hi, Doc. Thanks.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for having me on the call. I'm great. In high school, I was a sprinter and ran track, and I injured my knee my senior year doing something stupid. I thought at 5'3" I could be a hurdler, but my coach knew better, and I injured my knee. And I suffered for a long time with it. Of course, at that time, they, shoot you up with cortisone shots and do all that, which isn't helping it. It's just masking the pain. And so I injured it even more. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter, I ended up, right after she was born, I guess she was 13 months old, I had surgery. And that helped for a while, but then, of course, when they cut into you, they hit nerves and stuff. So I didn't always have feeling in part of my knee. So I just kind of suffered through and wandered through life doing things. Well, then in the last 10 years, I started going to the gym and working out and trying to get healthy and not wanting to be an ill person at a young age like my parents and just take care of myself. Well, my knee was holding me back. And I've been with Sisel now for almost 4 years, and I started taking the Triangle of Life. I was taking Fucoidan twice a day, and my knee started feeling better. The inflammation was down. My knee was always a little bit bigger than the other knee. And then the Renovator, I took the 2 products. That helped a lot, but this new Renovator really pushed me over the top. I have really no pain whatsoever. I'm jogging, which I hate jogging, but I do it. And I've competed. I'm getting ready to compete again. And it's because of these products that I'm able to do it and not endure the pain. I've also had pain for many years from an autoimmune disease, and I no longer have my autoimmune disease as far as I'm concerned. The doctor said she'd like to say I'm cured, but of course doctors can't say that about autoimmune diseases, even though my white blood count is as perfect as it's been for 3 years now. And I attribute that all to Sisel. And if I miss Fucoidan, I can feel it within my joint. I just take it, and I'm feeling great. Fucoidan it's something that I would never go without it, or Renovator. But I am just so thankful for these products, and I know that it's because of them I'm where I'm at. And I won't need knee surgery again, which is great because nobody wants to go in for surgery of any kind. So that's basically my story, and I mean, I'm almost 60 years old, and I feel fantastic, no pain. I can do what most people 40, 30 can do, and I am loving life because of what Sisel has offered all of us.
You bet. Well, Barb, I sure appreciate you sharing that. It's so fun. I always tell people that I've been a chiropractor for almost 30 years now, and hearing stories like that, I mean, it still just kind of brings a smile to my face because I like results. Everything that I do, I like results. I would rather have results like this than make a ton of money because that's what makes me feel good inside, and I just love it. So doing a call like this with DW, thanks for having me on here with you.
Well, I'll tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. And everybody, thank you for being part of the doctor's clinic tonight. You want to pop this call out as quick as you can, and we'll have it available here in just a little bit. And so attacking the chronic pain, don't be afraid to throw the Triangle of Life at it with the emphasis on Fucoidan and obviously the Renovator and the Omega Plus, the Body Shield as well to help you get some of the results that you want. And we'll be here same time, same place next week on Tuesday with the Doctor's Clinic. Talk to y'all soon. Thanks for being part of the call.
Voice personals, which are constantly updated, dial 5.